it's more passion. Getting in people's face only goes so far. You got to have the passion to win and the passion uh, to step up to the competition, and that's what we provide. We let athletes be themselves because nobody want to see robots play the game. Um, it's really about personality, entertainment,
Hmm.
and good basketball. And so that's what we provide with the Big Three at a time in the summer where it's going to be hard to find a good game.
It's interesting. This is the first season, correct me if I'm wrong, that Big Three is basically focused in specific cities. So before it was kind of touring around, but now you have specific teams in Chicago, in Dallas, and a few other places here. What was the decision to switch from that touring format to a more traditional city-based format?
Growth. We owned all the teams as far as the league. The teams were centrally owned, and we knew to grow this league, really, we had to have owners, team owners, who could really help us, plant flags in these cities all around the country, even all around the world, because we're looking at London and Mexico City. So having owners was very important to grow the league and to expand past the teams we have to, 16, 20, 24, and so
Hmm.
on. So it's the, start of the, kind of the beginning of the rest of our lives in a way, because now we can actually really see this league grow very fast.
How have valuations, the individual team valuations, been like? I mean, I've seen publicly a couple of numbers thrown around, but are you seeing a significant increase in those individual team valuations based on the way you would have valued them, a couple of years ago?
We're just at the beginning stages of it. So, you know, right now we say you can get a team for a bargain basement price, but compared to other franchises that's out there. And so we feel like we got the greatest upside when it comes to our business model and how things are structured with the big three. So, we feel like, we're a great bet if you want to, flip or or you in it for the long haul, So one day we'll be up there with the big boys
Yeah.
and have those, super evaluations.
So I am curious as to where you see Big Three maybe 10 years from now, or 8 years from now, I should say, given that we're now 8 years from its inception.
Hopefully in that amount of time, you could be able to 10 times, 12 times what we're doing now. So, um, we do see that these franchises are going to scale up very fast. And, people are going to make a lot of money, especially if they got in early. So, we do see uh, the curve just going up.
But when we talk about like the legitimacy of Big Three, and I remember when it came out, there were a lot of people kind of scratching their head. Why do we need this? Why is Ice Cube involved? But now you look at a league that has big corporate partnerships, Procter and Gamble, a partnership with Starter. I was reading about this whole. We had the CEO of Red Lobster on the other day and was talking about the big promotion that they're doing with the Big Three. On top of that, you got Chris Haynes, just a legendary NBA reporter who's now going to make his home the Big Three. That's big deal, right?
Yeah, but look at our history. We have Hall of Fame Commissioner Clyde Drexler. We have Hall of Fame coaches, from Dr. J to Iceman George Gervin to Nancy Lieberman, um, Gary Payton, now Michael Cooper. We got Calvin Murphy. These are Hall of Fame players who are putting a stamp on this league. Some have been around since the inception of the league. So, we have staying power. They wouldn't be around. Dr. J wouldn't be around for 8 years if this wasn't something great. So we know we're, on the right path, and we've been stamped by the greatest that ever played the game. And so, it's really no one who can look at us and say that This is a novelty. This is something that is very well respected throughout basketball.